Welcome back to Headlines. I'm Wes Austin, and these are today's top stories. First up, if your idea of touching is covering up a murder weapon, you might work for ABC News. An ABC News correspondent described the text messages between Charlie Kirk's killer and his transgender boyfriend as very touching. We've got the video clip. Then, over on CNN, Montel Williams says that the killer wasn't politically motivated, just a love-torn child. Yeah, and Ted Bundy was just an over-enthusiastic bachelor. It does look like ABC and CNN got their talking points at the same time, so that's good. It wasn't a brutal murder, it's a love story. Next, Arnold Schwarzenegger weighed in at USC, warning America is heading toward a democracy cliff. He said it was tragic that someone died over politics. Meanwhile, students at USC are still recovering from the trauma of someone wearing a MAGA hat on campus. And finally, Senator Hirono told Kash Patel it's too harsh to require women in the FBI to do a pull-up, because nothing says FBI agent like getting winded opening a car door. And then we go to the comment section. The first comment is on the segment we did about Nancy Mace and Ilhan Omar. Someone asked, how did Ilhan Omar become so rich all of a sudden? And then about the Bill Burr looking like Billy Corgan, someone actually said they might be half-brothers. Is that true? So we'll look at that. Okay, let's dive in. An ABC News correspondent described text messages between Charlie Kirk's killer and his transgender boyfriend about the shooting as very touching. Yeah, nothing says Hallmark moment like, honey, the gun's under the bushes.
With such specific text messages about the alleged murder weapon, where it was hidden, how it was placed, what was on it, but also it was very touching in a way that I think many of us didn't expect. A very intimate portrait into this relationship between the suspect's roommate and the suspect himself, with him repeatedly calling his roommate who is transitioning, calling him my love, and I want to protect you, my love.
Apparently, ABC's newsroom has been replaced with the writing staff from The Bachelor. Now that same correspondent went on the air on ABC later. Let's see if he can remember what actually happened to Charlie Kirk, or if he's still got a case of the vapors over the killer's romance.
It's heartbreaking on so many levels, Kira. Obviously, Charlie Kirk was murdered brutally in front of a crowd of thousands of people who watched him being shot through the neck and then essentially bleed out in front of him.
Okay, well, at least he was able to control himself and recognize that this was a terrible tragedy where Charlie Kirk...
And yet, on the other hand, so touching, right? With the suspect reaching out to his roommate, who is allegedly his boyfriend, who we understand, identified as male at birth, now identifies as female. And the terminology he used, he was trying to protect him. He kept calling him my love. My reason for doing this is to protect you.
At this point, ABC's coverage sounds less like news and more like a Taylor Swift breakup song written by Jeffrey Dahmer. Over on CNN, Montel Williams claimed that Charlie Kirk's killer was an emotionally motivated, love-torn child, not driven by hate. They want us to believe that this was Romeo and Juliet. I mean Romeo and Josh.
About a love-torn child, a kid. This is probably his first real relationship. And somebody was disparaging the person that he loved. He sat on that building for 30 minutes before he took the shot. Why did he wait until the first word trans came up? Then he took the shot.
You think he heard it? He could hear it?
I think he could hear it. I think he also, I don't believe he was motivated politically. I think this was motivated emotionally.
These are the same people who said January 6th was an insurrection, but the politically motivated murder of Charlie Kirk, oh, that's just Brokeback Mountain with body bags. While being interviewed as part of USC's International Day of Democracy celebrations, Arnold Schwarzenegger shared his thoughts on what happened to Charlie Kirk.
I was very, very upset that someone's life was taken because they have a different opinion. I mean, it's just unbelievable.
The students at USC sat quietly while Arnold said it was unbelievable. Then they headed over to their workshop on identifying fascists in your family. While questioning FBI Director Kash Patel at an oversight hearing, Senator Hirono said it's harsh to make women in the FBI do pull-ups.
That you are now requiring applicants to be able to do a certain kind of pull-ups, which a lot of women cannot because of physiological differences.
She admitted that women struggle with pull-ups. What she doesn't know is that so do liberal men.
If you want to chase down a bad guy and put him in handcuffs, you better be able to do a pull-up.
The reason I ask is that there are concerns about whether or not being able to do these kinds of harsh pull-ups is really required of FBI agents.
Senator Hirono thinks that one pull-up is too harsh. So if she had her way, the most dangerous thing FBI agents would chase is the ice cream truck, and only if it's parked. And now on to the comment section. So the first comment we're going to look at is about Oreos. This is from Mystery of the Universe, 1730. Deep fried Oreos, I gotta try at fairs. So I actually hadn't heard of deep fried Oreos before, so I spent last night watching videos about deep fried Oreos. They do look good. You make this batter and then you put the Oreos in and they're supposed to be really soft. I should have been reading more news, but I was watching deep fried Oreo videos. Anyway, thank you for the suggestion. I will try one if I get a chance. Okay, on to the Jimmy Kimmel segment, where Jimmy Kimmel basically said that the Tyler Robinson, the shooter of Charlie Kirk, was MAGA. He basically said that in the monologue, which is just, what a dork. Anyway, this is from Frenchie. Kimmel desperately wants to get fired so he can win next year's Emmy. Because you probably remember Colbert, he won an Emmy. So it's like, okay, if you're on the left, you want to win an Emmy, get canned for not having an audience, and then they're going to reward you. Especially if you've got a serious case of TDS, right? Okay, and then on to this segment we did about Jasmine Crockett, where she said crazy stuff about committing a crime doesn't make you a criminal and slave patrols. This is from Josh Meisner, 18. I wonder what her favorite flavor of crayon is. That's good. Okay, and then let's see. Oh, and then this is on the segment that we did about Nancy Mace and Ilhan Omar, where Nancy Mace had introduced a bill to censure Ilhan Omar and strip her of her committee duties. So we had this question from Pocket Hole 1900. How is Ilhan Omar still around? Didn't she marry her brother? How'd she triple her net worth in like a year? Okay, and I'm just going to be talking about the last question. So talking about her net worth. I could find stuff on that, so I won't comment on the others. But, and this kind of just came out recently. I think I did a story on this a few weeks ago. This is from the New York Post. Representative Ilhan Omar's net worth skyrockets to as much as $30 million months after denying she was a millionaire. So just a few tidbits from that. The disclosure filed in May shows that the far-left squad lawmaker and her husband, Tim Mynett, experienced a 3,500% increase in net worth last year compared to 2023. That's crazy. That's like, you're better than the Pelosi's at increasing your net worth when that happens. It says that the financial gains came from Mynett's two businesses, a Santa Rosa, California-based winery, and a venture capital firm headquartered in Washington, D.C. That's, what a combination, wine and VC money. That's great. Roselight Capital's assets were valued at between $5 million and $25 million by the end of 2024. The company had less than $1,000 in assets the previous year. That seems normal. Anyway, that's how she all of a sudden has like $30 million worth. Okay, and then on we talked a little bit about how Bill Burr and Billy Corgan Bill Burr is a comedian. He's said some crazy stuff. And then Billy Corgan, he's from Smashing Pumpkins, how they look alike. This came up in that Bill Maher segment because it was Billy Corgan, but people thought it was Bill Burr. But somebody commented they might be related. So this is from Rodeo Werewolf 3004. Billy Corgan and Bill Burr have been rumored to be siblings, but Bill Burr refuses to get DNA tested. The resemblance keeps being pointed out. And I found this is actually legit. They might be related. This is from the New York Post. Billy Corgan claims friend asked him to get DNA test after bizarre Bill Burr half-brother interview. And I did watch a little piece of something of this interview where Billy Corgan was on Howie Mandel's podcast. It seemed awkward, but I couldn't tell if it was kind of a setup, just I couldn't tell for sure. But here are some snippets from that article. Billy Corgan still doesn't know if Bill Burr is his half-brother, and he hasn't taken a DNA test to find out. Last year, Corgan told Mandel that his stepmom believed Burr was the singer's half-brother. And my father did once tell me that I had a half-brother named Bill, he admitted, who was basically born around the same time as me. He told me on my 18th birthday, this is all totally true. This is crazy. It's taken on a life of its own. It's sort of strange, he added of the half-brother situation. It really started from honest things, which are my father may have fathered 12 other children. And the facts of Bill's life actually do match the story that I was told. There's no invention there. So, I don't know, it might be true. And I can see why Bill Burr doesn't want to talk about it, because if, Billy Corgan's dad got together with Bill Burr's mom, so I can see why they don't really want, Bill Burr doesn't want him to talk about that, but there seemed to be some possible truth to this whole story. Anyway, so that is that. Thanks for watching Headlines. I'm Wes Austin. Good night.